Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Backstage with Builders podcast. Today, I'm joined by Bratin. Bratin is the founder of AMEG Studios, which is a brand strategy and design studio helping businesses become brands. Bratin has been in the design space since the last 4 or 5 years, and he is also in the podcast space, having done 20 plus podcasts with industry professionals, handling studio clients, and slowly reaching closer to an entrepreneurial dream. Beyond that, Bratin also loves learning about evolutionary psychology, the mindset of winners, hacks of successful ventures, and strategies of successful experiments in life, business, and design. So, today is going to be a fun one. Okay, thank you so much for joining the podcast, Bratin. I have already given you a good brief introduction, but I'd love to hear it from your own words, please.
Thank you so much for having me here. You've been on my podcast. Now the tables have
Yeah.
turned. So you're super excited for this. I'm Brad or Bratin. I run a brand strategy and a brand design studio in its early phases, helping other businesses becoming brands. I'm representing my t-shirt.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
good.
that's
I
what I
like that.
do. Very simply, I do content, I do podcasts, and just in the design space, helping brands have a better proposition, better design, stand out.
No, that's good though. That good. But like I see a lot of now like brand design agency or design agencies in general, right?
Mhm.
Then what is specifically like your company solves that is different from like other agencies you could say out there?
It's one of those, like fundamental questions. I think my dad asked me this, that he isn't much sure about what I'm doing, but he still will ask me, are you
Mm,
doing something that is like very unique or there are hundreds of other
mm,
companies for it? And I'm like, yes, dad, there's hundreds of other companies for it.
yeah.
But then slowly as I moved in my journey, I think the specific differentiation that I can bring in is that
Mm,
I have always been from the entrepreneurial mindset first, from the business mindset first, scaling mindset, systems mindset first, rather than a designer mindset,
that's good
which
though.
is the first unique part, which is I think of brand strategy as a much more foundational layer than just
Mm,
a formality.
no,
It's
that
not
makes
that I
sense.
will just make up a positioning statement that vaguely sounds good. It
Mm,
actually has to be market viable, actually should work in the current market, the market that
mm,
you will strategize and compete in. So
mm,
for me, the uniqueness that we bring in is how specific we are with our brand strategy and
no,
that
that
it
makes
should work and it should have uniqueness. Basically, we don't want to do anything that already exists. We
mm,
try to make some improvement so that the brand that we will work with should stand out in some way and hopefully
no,
positively all the time.
no, that makes sense. And since you are also like building your own thing, right? I feel like it puts you in a like a unique position where you understand other companies just trying to do the same. Right?
Yeah.
And also
Yeah.
like because you are building in a space where it is like the agencies are out there, I think there is sort of like also like a validation in terms of just market, like people
Mhm.
just need this so much, because you also do so much of designing. Not all of it obviously when it comes to entrepreneurial journey is full of positives. Has there been a case where a design has failed for you, and like what did you just learn from it?
It happened. It happened during the early days as well. And so that was quite a setback because everyone talks about it. I kind of
Mm,
expected it that sometime it would happen. But when it
mm,
happens to you, you almost become like, you get into like a fight or flight mode almost. And we shouldn't do that. And so the way to handle it is first breathe, take a deep breath, and talk to people who you know through
mm,
the podcast, through having other friends in the industry. I spoke to a few of them and they all said, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Whatever you have created as an output. It works. Maybe it doesn't work for them, for their liking. So what's the problem? Do it again. That's your job, right? If
right.
I would have been a commissioned painter during the king's and queen's time, I would have
Mm,
painted something that they
mm,
wouldn't have liked. I
mm,
wouldn't have anything to say. I would have to paint it again.
right. No,
Similarly,
that makes sense.
if
Yeah.
my work is design, if my work is bringing out the founder's vision and the founder
Mm,
is saying that it hasn't been done well,
mm.
I will just do it again. And I did it again. And the founder was happy.
No,
Very
that
simple.
makes
I
sense.
think,
That makes sense.
yeah, in terms of the challenges of the early days,
Mm,
just not being bogged down by the failure, just that's the main part. Because you
right.
will face the challenges, you will face the downs, but the only important thing is you don't get bogged down by it. You understand that it's like a checklist. Oh, one failure, two failure, three failure, and just go for as many failures.
No, that makes sense. So like you just take that constructive criticism or like the feedback
Mhm.
anyone just gives you and you just implement it
Yeah.
along the way, right? I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of times in the creative space I've seen this, like a lot of people's ego just come into the way, right? Where they're like, no, I know you better than this. Like it's my
Mhm.
design. Like I know just know better, right? So I
Right.
think that just puts you in like a unique position where you're like, no, understand. where
Mhm.
this feedback is even coming from, right? But then I feel like a lot of people can be like opinionated, right, when it comes
Mhm.
to branding, design, and that generally just creates myths when it comes to branding, right, or the design space. Like, have you
Mhm.
seen any like specific myth in this space where you are like, okay, this needs to just die at this point? It's been going on for
Design
too long.
myths. In the context of branding, I would say one myth is that, and this is not exactly a myth per se, but a lot of people still do it this way, which is not having a stronger brand statement. They
Okay.
think a brand statement is something that just explains their brand. Kind of true. But at the same time, it should differentiate you,
Mm.
explain your position in the market, and explain how you're better than all of your competitors
No,
in
that
a
makes sense.
certain way.
Yeah.
So, like if, for example, if I would just give my introduction to someone
Mm.
in the dating context, I can't just say, "Hey, I'm a guy. I'm 5 feet tall. I'm from this and this section, this and this college." Hi,
Mm.
that just puts me with everything, with everyone,
Right.
and
Right.
that'll be true.
Mm.
But people not taking differentiation seriously, I think
Mm.
it's one of those things that has to die. And also, in terms of myths, I would say the color wheel, it's
Mm.
overused now. Like, yes, if your fits, yeah, red color invokes, the sensation of hunger or something.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
mean I can't use it on a t-shirt. I can.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. No, I see it a lot. It's like you are a lawyer, you need to use these three colors. I'm like, no, but I like this one though. Right?
Yeah,
Can I not use this one? Right?
true.
Oh, that makes
It
sense.
has
That
unique
makes sense.
advantages.
Yeah.
If you can use the color wheel in a way which is advantageous to you, sure. But I
Mm.
would say because we're in the digital space, so much of colors are being used everywhere. That
Mm.
context has faded away from its prominence. It's not
No,
that strong anymore.
that makes sense. And then speaking specifically to other designers, right? Because you have been working for such quite a while now, right? Like 4 or 5 years you've been in this space. Is there any mistake that you see, like design mistakes that you see over and over again in like the startup industry? It's something you immediately spot and you're like, you know what, we need to just remove this if we can.
From the perspective of studios or from the
Yeah.
perspective of startups I'm working with.
No, from the perspective of studios, just a design mistake that you see. Yeah. Yeah.
Design mistake, one of the bigger roadblocks or even hurdles happens when you are not even sure of the brief yourself.
Okay.
You understand it, you're kind of clear about it, but you then just go away with that vague emotion and understanding and you create something, show it to the founder, and the founder is like, meh. Meh is the
Mm.
worst reaction in our industry.
Yeah. They don't
If
even
you
know.
hate it, yeah. If you hate it, tell me, sure, I'll redo it. If you
Yeah.
love it, sure, I'll approve it, move on. What is meh?
Mm.
So the meh
Yeah.
is the worst part.
No, that
So
makes sense.
yeah, one of the bigger, I would say, roadblocks is people not sitting enough with the discovery phase, the discovery call, the
Okay.
strategizing phase. They're too fast to move into design. And sometimes the opposite. Sometimes they'll just strategize in theory, right? Just
Mm.
strategize for like 90% of the deadline.
Mm.
10% they will design. There's no user feedback. They haven't asked any focus groups. Tada, it enters in the industry and people are like, I don't recognize it. I don't vibe with it. It doesn't resonate with me. So those problems as well.
So balance is much better, right? Otherwise, it would either be
Mhm.
underappreciated or it would lead to like a extension of timeline, and like both are just a bad like space to be in, right? And then in
Respecting
terms,
all
yeah,
the specific phases. Like the
right,
strategy phase has been designed for certain reasons, so respect it, give it that amount of time. Design as much time, take as much feedback, redesign as much needed, release it.
and
The
then
more you try
okay,
and tinker with it, the more difficulties are.
right. No, that makes sense. Then in terms of then the positives, right? Like, is there like a non-obvious sign that you see when it comes to just brand strategy that anytime you see it, you are like, okay, this is actually just working?
So how do you figure out if your brand strategy is working?
Yeah. Like, what's the, like a non-obvious sign for it?
Non-obvious sign. And think of the obvious ones:
Yeah.
repeatability,
Yeah.
word of mouth.
Yeah.
Interesting. One of the non-obvious ones could be your users spend more time on your website. They
Yeah. That
jump away
makes
less.
sense.
They actually scroll to the last of the website to the footer, which they don't need to. But they are like, maybe I'll see something more, maybe I'll find something more. That means with every scroll, they are not losing interest. The interest is
Oh.
still intact or increasing. So they're going till the footer. That's one of the things. If you can actually grab that attention or even increase it during a scroll, that's one of the
Ah,
things.
okay. No, I never thought about that. No, you're right about that. Then, because I feel like a lot of people just end up doing too much that you scroll through so much of it,
Yeah.
right? So fast, right? Then the non-obvious would be like you're just taking it slowly because design is so good to begin with, right? Everything is clear, right?
All the brands we love, like even if it's like, let's say we're on a we're on the Tommy Hilfiger website or a Brunello Cucinelli website.
Hmm.
We aren't going to buy a $10,000 jacket, but I'll
Yeah.
still scroll to the end
Scroll
because
to
I
the
like
end.
it.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the website.
Yeah. It's a journey almost, right? It's a journey that they just take you
Totally.
on and you're like, okay, cool. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Then speaking of like, you have been running AMEG for like such a long while, right? And looking back at it now when you started, is there something you would just do differently when you just started off like your company or like design studio?
Yeah, many things. And this is probably the answer with every founder.
Yeah.
In terms of the one thing that I wish I could have done at that time, and I'm still working on it, is pace of execution. Pace matters a lot because there are certain times where you get opportunities, you're taking them, sure, but that opportunity brings with it open nodes. That nodes can connect and bring more opportunity, and you have to be open to it. Like if someone talks to me and I know that there's someone I know in their connection, I can just reach out. But if I don't, there's almost like I just close the node basically. If I think of it in like a neural network kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish I would have, although I have connected with more people, and that's why I started the podcast as well to kind of be in the industry more. And I wish I would have done it even more.
So it expands your network almost, right? Through that one connection to another, right? I know that makes sense. I feel like word
Simply
of
put, you
mouth
can
is.
say I wish I could have gotten more clients. If you
Hmm.
put simply, that's the kind of the core problem or the core problem statement for all agencies. But
No, that makes
for
sense.
me, I would say just getting to know more and more businesses was have been my, like North Star. Should have been my North Star at that time, which it was.
No, that makes sense. That makes like something I can also relate to. I feel like early on I would have just started like networking a bit more,
Mhm.
right? Just connected with people more because you never know, one connection might bring like another connection you never even hope
Mhm.
for.
Mhm.
Right? So just closing that connection is like never a good thing to do to begin with.
Referrals are huge. Like in our industry, referrals are almost the lifeline.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Pretty much. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And since you are like also, I'm guessing you are also talking to other like agencies, right? Other design agencies. Is there something that you see these agency founders just worry too much about and then not enough about?
Worry too much about team. Making sure they are able to take care of the team month in, month out is always a challenge in the mind of every founder, especially in this space because it's almost network based. It's like an upper layer on capitalism. It's like you're not available to the masses. It's not B2C. You don't have the trust of like a Nike, for example, can mess up
Mm,
because it has to lose trust from 10 million people in the world.
mm,
That's very difficult. You have to do something massively wrong.
right.
Even then, probably you can gain it back.
Yeah.
Versus if I lose trust with even three people, I have eight clients. Then what do I do, right? For example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a huge, you can say, there's that risk, there's that almost like a fear, but there's that tension that's always there. This is kind
Mm,
of the main breaking point for us, that
mm,
relationship. So we're
mm,
always cautious about the team aspect. How do we scale the team? And if we have scaled it, how do we keep it intact? And the other one was, which we don't take serious enough, but we should,
mm.
you're saying, I would say technology. Just
Right.
because I come from the engineering background,
Mhm.
a lot of agencies still aren't heavy on technology in terms of workflows, automations, use of AI, and all that.
Hmm. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. No, that's actually such a good point because for us it's like almost like we are working with the for the first point at least like we are working with a few people at a time, right? So just
Mhm.
losing that trust is like in terms of just percentage, that's like half our business gone,
Yeah,
right? That's
right.
so that's a lot, right? Then what's working, by the way, like if you can share with us, like what's working really well in your business model, right? That you think is like okay, other people can just learn from this too.
Just be open to everything. And that's very vague, of course. And if I have to kind of make it much more concise, create content, speak to people, and network. Just, and when I say this, people always think of network as in events and all that. No, just
Mm,
do you care about the other person? Like, do I care about Akhil enough to give him
mm,
15 minutes of my day, 20 minutes of my day?
mm,
Yes, easily.
mm.
And does he do the same? Easily. That's a connection.
Right.
That's it. It doesn't have to be difficult, doesn't have to be formulaic, doesn't have to be anything more than the fact that if I feel the need, this person can actually help me out. If you do that with 10, 15 people, you will easily be able to have a network of 50, 60 people. And
Hmm.
that will help you get clients, that will help you work your story.
Hmm.
Content, for example, has been a massive booster in terms of in every field, in terms of my understanding, the people I know.
Hmm.
So I would say betting on content has been a game changer. Betting on podcasts, betting on connections, betting on people's
Hmm.
connection has been a game changer rather than spending time messaging 5,000 emails a day or something. I
Yeah,
think
I
this
could
has
never.
proven much better. Same.
But that volume, I could never do that. Like, I would never understand that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I feel like the quality that it comes through connections and networking in general is like much better, and people
Yeah.
remember you more, right? Especially from a professional standpoint, I think because knowing the right people just opens the door. Because I've seen skill set is one thing, but like opportunities only come from just knowing the right people.
I remember I was talking about this in a podcast with a senior designer from Microsoft, and we were having a chat similar to this. And I was like, the future looks very murky now with AI. Almost nobody knows what's going to happen. The age old truth always remains that if you can grow your own food and you know the king, you will do good in a society.
Yeah.
So, in
No, that
our
makes sense.
context, the king will be the people, good people in the industries who I know, and if I can farm my own food. So, that's it.
Yeah, no, that
So,
makes sense.
that's
Which
what
is
I
like
take
content
care of.
networking. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's good though. That's good though. Then like, okay, now I'm going to just jump the ship completely and
Mhm.
just talk to you about the legal side, right? Since you have been
Sure.
like growing your own thing, I'm sure you might have come to a situation or a point where you went, okay, I just need a lawyer for this. Has there been a situation like that?
Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult even understanding how to structure deliverables.
Hmm.
How does the other person actually want it? Because
Hmm.
at times it's done with proposals, for example.
Hmm.
Sometimes they want the contract and things can even break off at the contract point, even though they
Right.
like you and all that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, there has
No, that
been a
makes sense. For the
situations.
contract part specifically, right? That makes sense. And then has there been a situation where like you had to like chase payments or like fix like a messy client issue that you had with someone?
Yeah, same, like similar
Mm,
in terms of the invoice has been sent and it's a delay. But also,
mm,
like one of those things is if you have worked with the client, you can figure out if it's a delay, which is there's a way to handle that, or if you're unsure of the payment even coming in, you can
oh,
figure
okay.
out in terms of what's the intentionality. Is it just that they are very much caught up with work, or whatever be the reason? Could even be lame reason from their side. But is it that they are never going to send the money, or they are not sending the money yet? They are not
Mm,
able to send them. So yeah, those kinds of situations have
mm,
happened. But the only way
mm.
to handle that is probably just not trying to fix a template and just knowing people, handling it in a people way.
No, that makes sense. Like red flags is that's just spot on, right? Early on,
Yeah.
that's the main thing too. But then in terms of like, I feel like every bad situation just teaches us something that we could be doing better, like the next
Mhm.
time regarding this, right? And in terms of just contract, has a bad experience ever left you with, okay, I need to check or double check this contract clause from now on, otherwise I won't be signing this contract anymore?
Not yet, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I have heard a story, and there's a close story which is regarding IP, and it happened with someone I know. Very simple. It's an IP issue. Basically, after their work is done, they're like, you can't show this part of the work. Then
Yeah.
they're like, I've done, let's say, for example, if the designer has done 5 parts of work, they're like, you can't show the 3 parts. And he's
Mm.
like, these 2 parts won't make sense. There's no
Yeah,
context to it.
yeah,
What do I
yeah,
show?
yeah.
And so yeah,
That makes
I think later they fixed it out again, just handling it in a people way. So he kind of sat down with them, actually like went out and had like a physical meeting with them, and they sat down together and actually had a chat that, hey, more than the money, I need to showcase it on the portfolio because the work
mm,
matters more. You as a person mattered to me more. So then the other person also understood that, okay, I mean, it's not that big of a deal,
mm.
and they had some own reasons as well which were not very huge, so they also complied. And so
No,
yeah,
that makes sense.
I the moment I heard the story, I'm like, let me check my IP contract first. It should be strong.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, like permission to show the work. I've heard that so many times. It's like a lot of people might have worked in like a specific industry, for example, but anytime a
Mhm.
new client comes from that same industry and they are like, "Hey, can you show me a password?" Suddenly they can't do it just because of a clause that just restricts them from
Yeah.
doing it. Just
Yeah.
telling someone, "Hey, I've worked in this," and then they're like, "Show
Mhm.
me." Where, and then
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, I can't do it. It's like, okay, but did you really work then, right? Even though you know you
True.
did, but a contract clause
Yeah,
then just
proof is
stops you from
everything.
doing it. Right.
Those
No,
things I
that makes
think you should clear it out on like the first or second meeting.
right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then this is something I really want you to give to other founders, because it's one thing coming from a lawyer and another thing coming from a founder, like a design founder himself, right?
Mhm.
Like, what's one legal advice you wish people in their first or second year of the design, you can say, studio journey should just know about?
From a legal perspective, have someone you can talk to.
Right.
Very simply, have someone you can talk to,
Mm,
and most importantly, take the contract seriously yourself.
mm,
Spend time with it. It is complicated, but it's not difficult. It's
mm,
not rocket science. It's not quantum mechanics. It's still English.
Words.
It's still clauses. It's still something that another human called as a judge can interpret in a court. So
Right.
it's not that difficult. Again, just spend some time with it, actually take it seriously and research on it. Figure out what are the terms which are required, how it should be presented. And if at any point in time a client is facing reluctancy in signing a contract, they're probably not serious about it.
No, that makes sense. Yeah,
And
that's a huge red flag.
yeah, sometimes what happens is, it has happened,
No.
the contract hasn't been signed, but the money is in my bank. Then you understand that, oh, they are just probably just really busy. So make sure you still get it signed, but you probably can then continue the work, because then money isn't an issue. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So don't rush it, and then also like if they're not signing
Right.
it, then wait it out. But if
Right.
they have already transferred it, then there is always like the trust is already there, right?
Yeah.
No, that
Again,
makes
I
sense.
feel like we'll only work with so many people. If I continue to do AMEG for the rest of my life, I'll probably work with how many? 100 clients? 150 clients max. So I can have, but I have 50, 60 friends in one classroom, right? When I was in college. So I can keep specific context and handle every situation from a people's lens, from a specific lens. And I give myself that room, that I won't put a template on it. I'll handle every situation in a very individual.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's good though. Then like one final question for you, again, keeping it legal for you again. Is there like any legal pitfall or issue that you see in branding or like in design that most founders just seem to overlook it?
One of the biggest ones was being able to showcase work on portfolio. And other than that, I would say the next kind of issue is, or will be in the future, will be with AI. Like, how do we navigate the AI and copyright situation?
Yeah.
What part of IP is mine? Like, if I have done your brand strategy using ChatGPT, I own it. I own the understanding of it. But if I've created some graphics for you, and some of it is from Midjourney, I don't know. Like, who owns it? Midjourney says I own it, but it has inspirations from, let's say, Marvel. And so it's a very murky waters that you are in. And if you're using AI to create a final product for a client, now the client is kind of in a murky situation as well. So that's probably for the policymakers to figure out and straighten out the situation so that people can acclimatize. Yeah, those, I think the future with AI will be very murky from the perspective of ownership. Like, what do we own at the end of the day?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we are already getting a little bit on that. Like precedents are being set, obviously, right? But like obviously we need like a clear regulation about it. I think what we are moving towards is how unique is a prompt when it comes to this, right? Like how, because then it's like your own thing. Like prompt even is like your unique idea almost, right?
I have a hunch, like maybe like 10 years from now, we won't own anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And we
just
probably
be
wouldn't even have to. We probably wouldn't even have to, right? Because you probably can just buy ideas. There's probably 10 million ideas. You search for it and you pay ChatGPT $10 a month, $20 a month, which we are anyways doing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably that. And food
They're
will be done by machines.
Copyright, by the way, with this, like copyright your face almost, right? It's like, okay, like
the European side of the world is always kind of stuck up on it, and they will make regulations and all. Yeah, they're ready when it comes to regulation.
They're ready, yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I don't know how US and China will just react to it. Probably they'll just punch through it all. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, interesting future nonetheless.
It will be the same. Like we'll probably just be looking at what the rest of the world is doing and then copy it based on context.
Yeah, hope we copy the one that helps us grow. And I don't know the answer to it.
No, that makes sense. But yeah, this was fun, Bratin. Thank you so much for joining.
Super
I'll have
fun.
everything relating to your website, to your LinkedIn, and other information down in the description. And yeah, thank you so much again for joining.
Thank you so much. Hope you guys learned a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.